This video is for manifestors who need a break from this generator-run world. It can feel lonely and difficult to live in a world that goes against everything that works for you. So in class today, we're going to move through some energy and anger in a true manifestor fashion by doing quick spurts of movements to release some pent-up emotions and energy, followed by gentle and relaxing postures to rest. By the end of class, you'll feel more at home after moving at a pace that feels in alignment with your natural manifestor cycle. We are going to begin standing, so take a few moments to breathe deeply and get present in your body. As we move through class, feel free to take variations if you would like to do the movements in a different way. Every person is different, so please move and do what feels best in your body and what you need in each moment. The point here is to connect to your body and energy and honor what it needs. We're going to start off with some simple movements here, so maybe shaking the hands and the legs, starting to jump around and build that energy up, moving from side to side, maybe taking some jumping jacks or lifting the knees up and down. So anything that feels good for you, it doesn't really matter what you look like. So just have some fun, jump around here a little bit, start to feel the legs wake up, the whole body begin to wake up, and maybe smile while you're at it, while you're doing it as well. So shake it all out, come to the top of your mat, and coming into mountain pose. So just take a few moments here to take a few deep breaths, maybe setting an intention for how you would like to feel by the end of the class. Maybe feeling more at peace, more energized or connected. And just feel how your body is in this moment in time. And take your hands to your heart center. Lift your arms up and back. And exhale, bring the hands to the ground. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, place your hands down. Step back into plank. Lower down into chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Taking a few moments here to just pedal the feet out. Feel that stretch in the backs of the legs. We're going to move a little bit quickly here with some vinyasas in the beginning. So stick with me here. Pushing the hips up and back in your down dog. Taking one inhale in. And a long, slow, deep exhale. Look to the top of your mat and walk your feet up. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift your arms all the way up towards the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift the arms up and back. And exhale, hands to heart. Bring the hands down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into plank. Holding it here, just waking the core up. Remembering to breathe. Can always come down to your knees as a modification if you need. And lower down into chaturanga, maybe keeping the knees on the ground or lowering down all the way. And inhale to low cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. And bend your knees. And bring your knees about hip distance apart. Shift your hips back onto your heels, coming into child's pose. Just enjoying this pause after those fast movements. Taking long, slow, deep breaths to slow the body just a little bit here, to come back into the body and out of the mind. And come up into tabletop. Tuck your toes under and push your hips up and back into down dog. Walk your hands all the way to your feet. And on an inhale, lift the arms all the way up towards the sky, hands to heart center. And bring your feet together. You're going to take a big step forward with your right leg, coming into high lunge. Lift your arms up towards the sky. Come high up on those back toes. Maybe sink the hips a little bit deeper, pulling that left hip forward and keeping that right knee in line with your right ankle. And just relax the shoulders from the ears. And begin to step that left foot to meet the right, coming into chair pose. Sinking the hips down a little bit lower. Maybe keep bringing your hands to your chest. And sink a little bit lower. And step your left foot back, coming back into crescent lunge. And then step the right foot back to meet the left. Bring your hands to heart center. We're going to take a big step forward with our right leg, coming back into a lunge. Lift the arms up to the sky. And on an exhale, bring the arms behind. Lift the left leg up, coming into airplane pose. So take a deep bend in that standing leg if that's a little bit easier for you. Flex your back toes, finding your breath here. Start to bend that left leg and bring it next to your right, coming into chair pose. And on an exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step back into plank. And lower down, maybe on your knees, to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog, finding your breath here. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet again. And inhale, lift your arms all the way up towards the sky. Hands to heart center. Bring your feet together. Going on to the other side, we're going to take a big step forward with that left leg. Coming into crescent lunge, lifting your arms up towards the sky. Sinking nice and deep into your hips and that front leg. Coming high up on your back toes. Relaxing the shoulders from the ears. Taking a deep breath here. And bring that right foot to meet the left, coming into chair pose, keeping the arms lifted. Or maybe bringing them to your chest, taking any variation that feels good for you. And step your right leg back, coming back into lunge. And step that left foot back to meet the right, hands to your heart. And take a step forward with that left foot again. Reach your arms up towards the sky. And on an exhale, bring those arms behind you, lifting the right leg up into airplane pose, flexing your back toes. Play around with bending or straightening that left leg. Coming into one straight line. Bring that right foot to meet the left. Lift the arms up towards the sky into chair pose, sinking the hips a little bit lower. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step back into plank. Lower down to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And bring your knees down to the mat. You can keep your knees together apart for this child's pose. Bringing your feet together and keeping your arms extended out in front. Slowly deepen the breath. Enjoying this nice long period of rest after those holds and movements within your body. And just melting into your mat, allowing yourself this time to rest. Sometimes we come into these postures and our minds are so busy. And all we have to do is just forget anything else is going on around us, forget anything else exists, and just come to the breath. Just simply focus on the breath coming in and out. Coming up into tabletop, tucking the toes under, push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Start to walk your feet up towards the top of the mat. And inhale, lift the arms all the way up, sink your hips down into chair pose. Start to lift the right leg and then the left leg, coming into some chair pose marches. Slow and controlled movements here, keeping your hips nice and low. Just working those quads and those glutes. We're almost there. Sink a little bit lower, keep marching. And exhale, fold forward. And take your feet about the distance of your mat with your toes slightly turned out and sink your hips down as far as you can go. If you need a block or something to support your hips here, if this is a little too intense, you can grab that now. And just bring your hands to heart center with your elbows on the insides of your knees, with your chest nice and lifted, maybe rocking from side to side, working on opening up the hips and that external rotation. Taking any variation that feels good. So just hanging out here might be enough. Place your hands down on the mat. Step your feet back into plank and lower all the way down to the mat. Extend your left arm forward and thread your right arm underneath the left with the palm facing up. And just turn your head and place it on the ground. You can lift the hip up a little bit higher if that's a bit too intense in the shoulder stretch, and play around with maybe lowering the hip down to increase the intensity of this stretch. Just allowing the body to soften and relax even deeper. Closing your eyes, releasing any thoughts from the mind, and enjoying this period of rest. Switching sides, extend that right arm forward and thread that left arm underneath. The palm facing up, relax the head onto the mat. Play around with lifting the hips higher or lower, depending on the intensity of the stretch for you. Allowing yourself to soften and relax deeper in this pose. Slowly begin to come out, bringing your hands next to your chest, tucking your toes under and coming up into downward facing dog. Gonna come forward into plank. Drop your knees down to the ground if you need a modification. We're just gonna hold it here. Some final movements to strengthen the core a little bit. Just slightly tucking that tailbone under, staying strong in the shoulders. Slowly lower down onto your forearms into a forearm plank. We're going to roll onto the outer edges of the right foot, lifting that top arm up towards the sky. If you need a modification, you can bring that bottom leg down to the mat. Or if you'd like, you can just hang out here with your feet stacked, pushing away from the ground, lifting the hips up nice and high, feeling that side body engaged. Come back into your forearm plank and switch sides. Roll onto the outer edge of that left foot. Reach your right arm up towards the sky. If you need a modification, you can come down to that left shin. If not, just hang out here, pushing away from the ground, lifting the hips up higher. And come back into forearm plank, Push back up into plank and bring the right knee to the right elbow, left knee to left elbow. So we're going to come into these mountain climbers. You can go nice and slow, or you can start to pick it up. We're almost there, engaging those hip flexors and the core. Come back to plank and lower all the way down to the ground. Great job, guys. And coming onto the forearms into Sphinx pose. Shoulders are in line with the elbows. Just gently pull the chest forward. Slightly lifting the chin up, closing the eyes, feeling that stretch in the front body. And lower the chest down, bring the hands next to the chest, and push the hips up and back, and then onto your heels into child's pose. You can lift the palms up and bring them to the base of your neck, feeling that stretch in the triceps if you'd like another option. And release the arms and come onto your shins. Bring your hands to your hips to start. We're going to go into camel pose just to open up the front of the body a little bit more. So bring your hands to your lower back, fingertips facing down, and lift the chest up and back as you gently push the hips forward slightly, squeezing the glutes. Lifting the chin and the chest up, maybe reaching for the heels if you have that flexibility. And then bring the hands back to the lower back and drop your hips onto your heels. Take a moment here with your hands on your knees. Maybe a block under the hips is needed. You can grab that as well. And we're going to go into this one more time. So take the knees about hip distance apart, hands to your lower back. Lift the chin and the chest up towards the sky, pushing the hips forward. Hanging out here, grabbing the heels. Slowly coming back up, drop your hips onto your heels. Take a moment here. And just come onto the side of your hip. Extend your legs out in front and slowly come onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest and just rock from side to side. Bring your arms out to the side and just drop your legs over to the right. You can take any variation in this reclined twist if you'd like. Maybe reaching the right hand to grab the outside of that left foot. Or extending that left leg out. So finding the variation that feels good for you and just sink into the mat, relaxing as much as you can here. Bring your knees back to center and just switch sides. Drop your knees over to the left and turn your head over to the right, taking any variation that feels good on this side that you might have taken on the other. And give yourself this period of rest to allow the spine to unwind and unlock. Bring your knees back to center and back into your chest. And then release the legs down, coming into Shavasana. With your arms by your sides, palms facing up. If it feels better to have your arms over your head, you can do that as well, maybe on the belly. You can also bend your knees and TP them in together. So whatever feels best for you, just take that variation. We're going to take a few moments here in Shavasana to just really fully melt and relax the body even deeper, giving ourselves that space and this time to relax with nothing to do and nowhere to go. Begin to make small movements with your body, moving your fingers and wrists and toes, taking a full body stretch, reaching the arms over your head, bending your knees, and just coming onto one side of the body, just curling up here for a moment. Gently push yourself all the way up into a seated position. And just come back to your body by taking some deep breaths. And just see, how do you feel? Did you enjoy the energetic movements followed by long periods of rest? And take some time today to reflect on how the movements in class might mirror a more efficient way of operating in your daily life. And tapping into your body and giving thanks. Thank you all for joining me today. Namaste.